Good morning. Wow, that was a very powerful song. Listening to those lyrics, I read them when I knew this was a song we were going to be using, and then I was just listening to them again now. And it's just, you hold the key to love and fear, and there's only one. You can unlock both of those, you can unlock either of those. And how we bring that forth is what we're going to explore today as we explore the gifts of the fourth chakra. So there's lots of different ways that we can look at the power of the heart and the power of love and the power of that divine gift that we're given. And today we're going to look at that through the lens of the fourth chakra. And there's this ancient Hindu legend about Brahma. Give me a quick second, everybody. Something's popping up on my screen. Let me just see if I can't. There we go. Thank you for bearing with me. I was having trouble with the Zoom window. It kept wanting to shrink on me, and I don't want that. All right. Thank you. Okay, so where was I? Ancient Hindu legend about Brahma. So in the beginning of time, according to this legend, you know, all human beings were gods, and they were abusing their divinity. And in the Hindu tradition, Brahma, the chief of the gods, decided to take away the divinity of human beings and hide it away from them. And so he called a council of all, you know, the high gods to come together and help him decide what to do, where to hide this divinity from human beings. And so one of them said, you know, let's bury it deep in the earth. And Brahma answered, humans will dig into the earth and find it. So that's not going to work. Another one said, let's sink it to the deepest place in the ocean. And Brahma said, no, humans will learn how to dive into the ocean and find that, and they'll discover it again. That's not a safe place to put it. And another god said, like, let's put it high up on a mountain, the tallest mountain we can find, that they'll never be able to discover it. And Brahma responded, no, you know, they will find it there too. And in thinking about it and figuring out, where are we going to hide this? Because there seems to be no place on earth or ocean or mountain, and human beings will not end up reaching at some point. And Brahma thought about it for a long time. And he eventually came to the conclusion that the best place to hide divinity from human beings is deep in the center of their own beings. Humans will search for it here and there. They'll go looking for everything and everywhere outside of themselves, but they won't look for divinity inside of themselves. And all the gods agreed that this was the perfect hiding place, and the deed was done. And since then, humans have been going up and down the earth, digging and diving and climbing and swimming and exploring, searching for something which already lies right there inside themselves. And so this really is this treasure that we pull out, this jewel, as the Buddhists call it, you know, this jewel of the heart, to know that our divinity lies within us. And that is our greatest power. And that is to be awakened. That is to understand the power you have, the power all of us has. Divinity lies within all of us, even the people we believe are evil or to be our enemies. There's some food for thought there. All of us have that divinity in us, but not everybody accesses it, right? Not everybody has done that diving, that searching inside themselves. That piece of spirit inside shows up in the reflections of all different forms of worship. The Native Americans believe in the oneness. We are all one, and that we are a reflection of Great Spirit. The Hindus, the Buddhists believe in Atman. Every Abrahamic religion has the Holy Spirit. The Kabbalah, Sufism, all of them reflect this. Islam has it. It's just a little bit different. But regardless, we have this divinity that we can connect to. And so that's where our obligation is right now. It's more of an obligation in today's world, because if we don't dig down in there and discover that in ourselves, then we are aimless. We are lost. We suffer more, and the world suffers more. And so we're seeing this beautiful uprising right now of so much that's passionate, so much that feels, like it's separating us. But I see these things as an opportunity, as we feel divided, to really go inside, to really do the work, to do that healing. And in the end, that rises us to a higher vibration, a higher frequency, a place of great divinity, of great love in the world. We're just, microscopically right under that lens right now. So coming together every Sunday is about doing that work, learning how to reseed something for ourselves and work on that all week long and learn something new and discover ourselves through that journey, discover our own divinity inside ourselves. It's not actually hidden. It just kind of gets piled up on top of with all this human stuff. And when we pull that away, and when we trust and we grow our faith and we let go, then that has room to kind of blossom, right? That lotus in the mud that can come up. So we've been doing this series, and if you haven't been with us, I give a quick overview. We first realized that it was important to set up a new framework of new beliefs in order to do this deeper work. Okay, this isn't just like studying the chakras and learning what color they are and this kind of thing. This is doing the deep spiritually tied work to each of these areas and understanding ourselves and uncovering where our blocks are in a different way. So the framework that we've been kind of using as a shortcut is the 4 agreements. Okay, not taking anything personal, working on no assumptions that are based on old beliefs. That's a hard one. That's the rewiring piece, right? We're looking at raw truth, that impeccable with your word to yourself, going into that space, looking in the shadows of the things that we don't necessarily like to see. But if we don't look at that and we don't bring that up to heal, then, we're covering up, getting all the way to the core of our own divinity. Bringing a pure heart with pure intention, right? Recognizing that this is a task of the soul, not the mind. So part of this particular series is about kind of bypassing the mind. We give the mind enough to chew on and feed on to understand this, but we're really invoking our soul to come up and do this transformational work. And we're making a commitment. We're making a commitment by doing this work to heal. And as we heal ourselves, that soul contract can happen for humanity as a whole. So that's our overview of what we worked through in the first part of the series. And then we learned about the first chakra being how we root down and connect. That's about our tribal connection, about feeling a part of the whole. Okay. And then we move up to the second chakra, and that's about one-on-one relationships. It's about honoring one another, having a little bit more of a personalized feeling there. Then we get more personalized, going up to that third chakra, that solar plexus space, about honoring yourself, okay, and really looking at you. So those are all like a kind of about external things. Even the one about ourself, it's about ourself in the world, about our relationship with others, and about our connection to the tribe. So we've been exploring kind of the external chakras. Now we come to the fourth chakra, the heart chakra. Okay, and then we're going to move into fifth, sixth, seventh, and these are the generals. We know that there are hundreds of chakras, but we're going through the main seven. Okay, so fifth, sixth, and seventh, in opposition to the external lower ones, these are the internal chakras. But this fourth one in the middle, I call this the universal. This is the universal space. It combines both the internal and the external worlds. So you got a little bit more to explore here in the heart chakra, not surprising, and really rich, because we're exploring this space of love and compassion and forgiveness, both externally and internally. Consider it the gateway of going within. Okay, as we rise through the chakras, as the Kundalini rises, as that chi rises, we're going through the gateway of coming into ourselves, okay, into that divine power. So that kind of helps us orient where we're going with this, where we've been, where we're going with this today. The fourth and seventh chakra are connected, kind of like we talked about. The third and fifth chakra were connected. So the third being our gut reaction to things. The fifth being our wisdom, our third eye. Those are connected. We use our wisdom to kind of feel through our gut. So now we're looking at our heart, and our heart is connected to the seventh chakra, to our connection to the divine. Hence, this is where our power is in love. This is our divine gift, the power of love that comes from the divine. So that kind of orients where we're going and where we're going to hit right here. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and just focus yourself for a minute. Take a deep breath. Feel yourself in your seat. Get your feet on the floor. Close your eyes and go into that heart space. Okay. Go into that fourth chakra heart space. The sacred power there, the sacred message there is love is divine power. This is the heart of it all, literally and figuratively, the heart of it all. Now breathe into your heart space and just feel it open. And as you breathe, as you take breath in, invite it to open up more. Sometimes you're going to feel the resistance there. That resistance might be grief, it might be anger, it might be self-loathing, anything that can trigger that heart to just kind of contract. And when you go to expand it, it holds on, okay? But just acknowledge that. We're not trying to change anything yet. Just acknowledge that, see it, sense it, feel yourself, okay? Marianne Williamson says, love is what we are born with. Fear is what we learn. The spiritual journey is the unlearning of fear and prejudices and the acceptance of love back in our hearts. Love is the essential reality and our purpose on earth. To be consciously aware of it, awakened and aware of it, to experience love in ourselves and others is the meaning of life. Meaning does not lie in things. Meaning lies in us. So vibrationally, I'm helping you expand that space in your heart. Open up. And here's the key thing. We have to give this to ourselves before we're able to channel it for anybody else. Even when we feel like our children, our parents, our loved one, whoever our loved one is, we feel love for them. But the capacity that we can truly, deeply share it as a divine power is limited by the amount that we give ourselves. Okay? We are limited in the amount that we can love others by where we end up capping it for ourselves. And this is something that very well may be in your subconscious. It may not be a conscious thing, but there are natural subconscious, unconscious blocks to this, and we want to just lift those away. Okay, so we're going to take that back into the cerebellum work, take it out of the frontal lobe. All right. Whew. Okay, so the basics of this fourth chakra, the color's green. Sometimes we can add pink. And today I didn't have any green in my closet. I don't wear green very often, so I wore my pink. But green is typically the color associated with the fourth chakra. The element is air. Okay, so air. Now think about that for a minute, because air, space, space. We talk about that in our hearts, right? We talk about having space in our hearts. Somebody always having a special place or space in our heart. And the thing of it is, we recognize this mystery of love, that there is no limit, right? It's not like, oh, I've got 10 people I love, so I'm cut off here. I can't love anybody else that much. Or, we can't categorize it. It's this mysterious thing, because it's a divine power and a gift. It's this mysterious thing that can become completely unlimited and unconditional. But we have to build our faith in that, so that when it's challenged, we have something we lean into. It's easy, right? This is easy stuff when we're in our right brain, and it's like, oh yeah, this all makes sense, and I feel good, and my life is going well, and oh, all of this, click, 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 I'm awakened, I get it, this all is great. And the minute we get challenged, the minute a weight comes on that, the minute a shadow is cast between that light and ourselves, in our mind's eye, that shadow gets cast, and we're in the dark. We're in the dark with our emotions. This is our emotional center. We're in that space where I can't get in touch with my joy. I can't get in touch with my happiness. I can't get in touch with peace. I'm not at rest. I'm uneasy. I'm anxious. I'm grieving. I'm angry. I'm all of these emotions, and these emotions can throw me around, and I'm hitting walls, and I'm stumbling down, and I'm barely able to climb back up. I'm barely able to breathe. I'm pretty sure everybody that's on this call with me, on the Zoom call at least, knows that feeling of barely being able to find my breath. I've had that experience a few times. And the best part about that experience is recognizing that without that experience, you never know the true gift of breath. You never know the true gift of love. And so when that shadow comes down and we're having those challenging feelings, that's when we need to lean into our faith that we have built in the times that it's easy. Not even recognizing that we're building it even more in the times that it's hard. But we have to have something to lean into. This is where coming back to ritual practice, to faith-based practices, to any sort of ceremony that helps you acknowledge and recognize your divine connection. This is so important. This is such an important thing every day, so that when the shadow casts in the darkness, you still know there is light. You still know you can reach out and be held and be helped back up, carried, however it is that you see it. And you can still turn inside and recognize that your light is burning, that you're a candle in your own darkness. You just may not be able to see it right now, but you've built the faith that takes you there. Being able to overcome what emotions are throwing us around is the way that we gift ourselves that divine love, okay? I often work with my clients by saying, we're on a bus. We're on a bus. My ego's in a seat. My pain body is in a seat, my emotional body's in a seat, my spiritual, my mental, like all parts of me, all different archetypes of me, my inner victim, my saboteur, like all parts of me are with me on the bus. But my question is, who's driving? Who's got the keys? And sometimes when we can separate ourselves enough that we can see our emotions aren't all of us, and we're able to kind of get on top of that and take the keys back from the emotional body, we're able to get our heart chakra back in sync. Okay, so that's one of the ways that we get out of sync, is when our emotions are in charge and pulling us around. Again, the practice, having a practice every day, giving yourself space to feel the emotion you're having, to feel that anger, to feel that sadness, to feel whatever it is that's challenging you. Feel it. It's a feeling. It's an experience of a feeling, but that feeling doesn't have to be in charge. Okay? And when we let it be in charge, that's when we lose control and we go into the spin out. And then we're far away from that divine love, from that place of being able to connect with that gift, with that power that helps us. And that's what it's given to us for. It's given to us to be able to experience everything. Everything. Love brings every emotion in. If you love, you will be hurt deeply. If you love, you will be happy unconditionally. If you love, you will experience joy. We know you will experience death. Everything comes and goes. Can you allow yourself to let your heart be broken wide open to experience everything? That's the question. Where do we shield ourselves? That's kind of what we need to see here. So part of what we're trying to develop in this fourth chakra, it's the home of our forgiveness, our compassion, our equanimity. These are important things to maintaining that even balance of not giving the keys to the bus to the emotional me. Okay? I need to maintain my equanimity, my forgiveness, my compassion, my generosity to myself as well as to others. And this is where we forget, to ourselves. I have to give myself forgiveness. I have to give myself compassion and generosity and equanimity. So digging into that, what happens to our bodies when we're not in sync? Well, this affects the areas of our heart, obviously, our lungs, which is our breath, our thymus, our breasts, this whole area. So when we become heartbroken, heartache, any of those things that break us apart here, and we don't process it in a healthy way, these are all the areas of our body that starts telling us that. Okay, that's what tells us when we're out of sync, when we're having heart issues, when we're having breast cancer, when we're having respiratory issues. All of this area, we manifest in our body what it is we need to hear. Don't get angry with the illness. It's simply telling you where you're out of balance. Bring yourself back into balance. This is the journey. Uncover the shadows. Okay. So an overactive chakra looks that overwhelmed by emotion kind of feeling. Can be a lack of self-discipline. That can be overactive. Tendency to live one's life through others. Okay, so if you're kind of sitting on the sidelines and, whether it's a family member, a child, or it can even be a coworker, when you're kind of living your journey through somebody else, that's an overactive heart chakra. Underactive is a feeling of being unloved, cold, distant, feeling inferior, constantly seeking out emotional support from your relationships, okay? Not knowing how to self-soothe. That's not knowing how to self-love, okay? It's not to say that we don't all need to lean into each other, for sure. But when you know if that just bing hits that button, okay? If you can't get by, you lean into relationships as your compass. If you don't have your own compass, that's what that's all about. That's underactive heart chakra. Okay, so those are hard things to look at sometimes. You know, is my inner victim taking control here? Am I feeling unloved and poor meing myself all the time? Am I constantly feeling inferior to everybody? This is where the work needs to be done. Okay, so the mind understands that fourth chakra in these ways that we're talking about. This is where I'm giving you a little bit to feed on there so that you can identify what it is that you may need to start repatterning the conscious words and verbal programs in your mind. Okay, it kind of comes down to, do you handle your life, or does your life handle you? If your life is handling you, wrong person's driving the bus. All right, you need to be handling your life, and that's a big part of your emotional growth, your emotional stability, and your heart chakra being in sync. But the spiritual reality, okay, love is the most sacred gift. The most sacred gift. It's even more sacred than the breath. And I'm real attached to the breath being a sacred thing. But the breath belongs to the body, and that will pass. But the love continues. You've lost loved ones, right? I've lost both of my parents, and yet I can still feel their love. I keep it alive inside of me. Their breath has stopped, but their love continues. Your love will continue, but you need to make it big and you need to let it flow, okay? So this heart space is the seat of our spirit. Our love, our divine spirit, comes right here. This is the direct connection from the 7th to the 4th chakra. Boom. This is where we live. This is the seat of our soul. That peace that goes on and on and on. So feed it, empower, engage, light it up. That fire. We talk about the Holy Spirit, that fire inside, that is that divine power. Light it up. The rest be damned. Everything in the way, be damned. It's the stream of divine grace coming into you. Okay, so we want to expand. This is part of our natural, as humans, this is part of our natural desire, is to expand. We want to expand. We're drawn to. It's human nature, okay? And when that's out of balance, we get panicky. So wanting to expand means drop the bullshit. Drop all this other stuff that's in the way. If you can't expand, you can't give more love. This is where we experience grief and sadness, et cetera, because we lose the landing place that our love is being deposited. Okay, so plain and simple. I had a mother here. I deposited all sorts of love on her. When she was here no longer, part of my grief was my love had nowhere to land. Well, I need to broaden my target. I need to take that love that was placed with one relationship in my life and expand it. I remember the day that I kind of had this epiphany, this aha moment of recognizing that this deep, deep, deep sadness I had without having my mother here anymore. I realized, I was like almost told it was definitely a spiritual gift, that I could kind of pivot that. And while it might look different, I had a daughter. I had a daughter to share that with. And as I recognized that and did the shift in my understanding, going from here back to here, and I shifted that to channel that love that I would have been placing on my mom into my daughter. And obviously I already had love with her already, but there was this mysterious, miraculous kind of boom that happened where all of a sudden there was so much more love. I didn't think there could be any more. I kind of thought I was like hitting the ceiling, right? And then whoom, the ceiling broke open as big as the sky and beyond. And it was just like this overwhelming feeling. And that grief dissolved. So yeah, do I have the emotion? I still have the emotion. I can miss my mom, but I don't have that deep grief anymore because I took that love that didn't have a place to land and I found other places for it. And my daughter wasn't the only one. That's just an easy example to give because it was so poignant to me. Okay, so having that divine grace that can expand beyond ourselves is part of that power, and it just keeps going and going and going. And it's magical and it's mysterious and it's miraculous, and that's what it's supposed to be. If we had it all figured out, we wouldn't want to engage with it as much. But that's why it's a gift as well. We can't go and create that on our own. That's something that's been given to us. Whew. Wow. Okay, so needing to deepen our awareness of ourselves, knowing what gets hidden in the shadows, not knowing what's hidden in the shadows, that's okay, but recognizing there's all sorts of stuff hidden in the shadows, and that's what we want to clear to be able to get into that deep divine place for ourselves, okay? One of the trademarks experiences, I'll say, of the fourth chakra is betrayal. All right. And I think that's important to recognize, because if your brain needs something to chew on, if there's an experience that you've had, an emotion that you can't seem to shed yourself from, typically it's related to betrayal. Now, betrayal can be a tricky thing. Most dark things are, because it's real easy to see when someone's betrayed you. That hurts immensely, right? You've betrayed somebody else. That brings usually on a lot of shame and guilt. And that's where we have to, really engage our forgiveness with ourselves. But the betrayal that can be really tricky is when you betray yourself. All right. And that's something we talked about in the third chakra, actually. But then it boils up and it starts to affect us in the fourth chakra. And this is where that damage is done. So you need to look at the areas, or I should say, I invite you to look at the areas where you may have betrayed yourself. We make promises to ourselves. It's that expansion. It's that wanting to be better, wanting to have more love. And we want to push it all out, but it's not going to work if we don't have it inside. And so that's one of those things to turn inside with and say, how have I betrayed myself? So we don't always see that. And that can be in that space behind the shadow that you're not sure about. What is that? Why is that still bothering me? Why am I still out of sync? Especially if you lean into other relationships to give you advice. If you always have to have somebody that you're consulting with to figure out, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? You're betraying yourself. You're thinking of yourself as less than. You're not stepping into the light that you are. Okay. So I feel like that's something that's hard, but important to look at. Whew. Okay. I think we're going to move into a place of doing some other work. I've been doing a lot of energy work with you all through this, but we're going to do some of that meditative work for ourselves. And I leave you with this thought. This is as we go into a meditative space, okay? I love how Carolyn Mace explains this. Theology is no longer in a building. Apropos for Angel's Landing right now. Apropos for virtual reality right now. You know, everybody's tuning in virtually. But theology is not in a building. It's in our body, and it's in our blood, it's in our bones. So seek that for yourself. That's the sacred vibration that we really want to light on fire. And it starts here, okay? So your spirituality, your theology, your connection to a higher power. It's not in a building. It's in your body, it's in your blood, it's in your bones. That is the divine love inside of you. Okay, so let's all just get ready to kind of breathe into ourselves. Settle in. Awaken the awareness in your heart space. Root down. Root from that first chakra down into the earth. Get yourself stable. Feel yourself. Feel yourself rooted in Mother Earth. Breathe into that. So that foundation feels really strong for you. Move up into that second chakra. Breathing into there. Breathing into the third chakra. To your solar plexus, into the center, the balancing point of your body. And now bring all of that up into your heart. And your heart space should just feel bigger than all the rest, okay? Just open up that heart space. We're going to call in some help to balance the fourth chakra. I've already called in the four directions and our guides and guardians for those spaces. But I specifically want to call in our ancestors that were just a couple generations back. A couple generations back when emotion had no place, when how you felt didn't matter. It was way out of balance in a different direction. And we've swung in this other place where we're so yanked around by emotion, we sometimes don't know how to find the balance. So we're going to call in those ancestors that can help us find that balance. This helps heal their vibration as well as our own, okay? Now, as you breathe, we're going to call in forgiveness. Forgiveness for self. Forgiveness for others. The Ho'oponopono prayer is a wonderful space for that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. So go ahead and say that with me, holding it in your heart space for yourself. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And now for others, for any other space, and we don't even need to think about the who, what, when, where, why. Just the holding the sacred intention in our hearts of forgiveness for others, wherever that forgiveness is needed, outside of our ego. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And just ask your heart space to open up a little bit more. And as you let go of anything that needed to just fall away, anything that no longer serves your highest good, now invite in that divine love. Invite in your heart space to get larger. And we're going to do our chanting as Dr. Goodall taught us, okay? The mantra for the heart chakra is Yam. So we're going to do Yam Om. Left to right, again, helping the left and right brain hemispheres. Program this all the way down to the cellular level of our body, bypassing what we need to understand and putting it into the space that directly connects us with the divine. So, Yam Om. Yam Om. Yam Om. Yam Om, Yum, 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 Yum. Bring that right into your heart. Yum. Yum. Now 3 ohms, and we're going to push that through our whole body. Om. 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 Just keep your eyes closed and feel that vibration. Hear this with your heart and spirit while it bypasses the mind. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give permission to other people to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. That was Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love. Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles. Whether your mind believes that message or not, the vibrational healing of that has gone straight to your heart chakra. That should help shift anything that's been in your way, anything that you're struggling with. It doesn't mean that you won't feel uncomfortable emotions, but it means that you can sit with them. It means that they're not going to take over. And it means that you're igniting, blowing up, setting on fire that inner divine love that is your superpower. Don't go looking for it in the mountains and the sea and the earth. It's right there inside of you. Whew. Okay, Lori, I think this would be a great time for your song. Whew. Well, I hope you are all feeling reduced, connected, and more loving of yourselves. Each and every one of you. Like, this other stuff, just let it go. Let it go. Okay, so take a deep breath and close your eyes, and here's a beautiful blessing for you all. You are beloved of the universe. You are as beautiful as the sunrise and as ancient as the stars. You are a spark of divine love in human form. Through you, goodness and light flows into the world. May you always find the courage to let it flow freely and openly. May you be brave enough to let your heart break wide open whenever it calls. That love may flow like a constant tidal wave through you. And may you receive this love in yourself, for yourself. that you may open your channels even more and share it with the world. Bless you always. Aho.